13th century Japan. The country is drenched in the blood of the great clans, all fighting for power. Society is crumbling, dogmas are forgotten, and Buddhism is entering an age of obscurity. Meanwhile, the Shinto religion gains more and more traction. Yet both beliefs still coexist in people's minds and hearts, offering them hope. However, disease and famine also walk hand in hand, killing thousands in the process. The times are so dark and hopeless that demons roam the earth itself. Lord Takeda Nobumitsu of the Takeda clan was deceived by a powerful demon. He and his army were lured into a trap. Every last one of them died. Lord Takeda sacrificed his life to save his last Ashigaru commander, a military leader. You, who are me now, vowed to avenge the Lord's death. Following rumors, I found the entrance to the demon's stronghold. Taking what might be my final breaths, I enter the Labyrinth of the Demon King. The Labyrinth greets me with an abomination from a sick mind. It feeds on a corpse, but after noticing me quickly hides into the shadows above. Going through darkness and ready to fight with my bare hands, I come across a bucket on a rope. I have no one to fight and nowhere else to go, so I climb up. I find myself inside the castle walls of an unknown clan, marked with a tomoe symbol. It can be either the OBS Studio clan or the symbol of Shinto, or Kabayakawa clan. Looking through some of Japanese clan symbols, besides the Kanye West clan, I found the two biggest clans of the 13th century, Minamoto and Taira. They played a big role in the fight for power and were rivals. The Kabayakawa clan was a branch of the Taira clan, and at the same time this symbol could be linked to Shinto. The protagonist belongs to the Takeda clan, which serves under the Minamoto clan, which means I ended up on the enemy ground. In the middle of the yard stands a large tree. Nearby, a servant woman is surprised to see a human who made it here. She's witnessed many who came seeking the Demon King's head, hoping to avenge their lords, lovers, or honor. She can't help me directly. If someone notices her doing so, she'll be punished. Still, she shares valuable information. There are 4 towers. The Demon King resides in the last one, but I can't just walk straight into his chamber. I must slay 3 wardens and shoulder their burdens. This game loves the number 4. 4 towers, 4 burdens, 4 keys, and about 4 pixels, thanks to its art style. I guess the number 4 isn't random though. In Japanese, the words 4-4 and death are both pronounced she. Looks like this ride through the castle is going to make me think of death all the time. Fair enough, I enter the first tower, the Tower of Repetition. A lovely, moldy, dark place. Around the corner I meet 2 locals arguing over who's more miserable and whose life is more difficult. The one on top with black skin wins. I finish him off. Either I do it or Tooth Decay will. The tower, unsurprisingly, is a maze. Most doors are locked and the interior looks the same. Running in circles becomes my second job. While exploring, I find a Shrikadama, a mythical ball said to contain a person's soul kept inside the anus. These are especially prized by kappa, reptilian creatures from the Japanese folklore. There are many different beings in Japanese folklore and they are called yokai. By the way, guys, don't forget to check your Shrikadama at a local kappa once in 10 years. I discovered one such kappa trapped behind a kitchen door. He has no key, but his uncanny wife Nikamata might help. Nikamata is a malicious 2-tailed cat whose life revolves around eating. If I were dying on the floor, she'd be cutting meat from my body while paramedics tried to save me. Well, if you think about it, there is no difference between her and a domestic cat. In addition to selling useful items, she also has the key to release her husband, but she won't give it away or sell it. If the kappa dies behind that door, he becomes food. She asks for a favor instead, a token of goodwill. She wants a Buddha statue placed inside a Butsudan, or Buddhist altar. The catch? Anyone who neglects or defiles the altar will be haunted by a Nuribotoke, a giant black corpse with dangling eyeballs that follows you everywhere. It cannot be killed or reasoned with. Weapons, fire, or bribes can immobilize it briefly, but it will relentlessly keep chasing your poor soul in your poor ass. The cat, of course, knew about Nuribotoke. She just couldn't care less. She wants food, and the more enemies I fight, the more dead I get, meaning more meat for her. After retrieving the key and releasing the kappa, he goes underground to his forge, where he can upgrade my weapon for S souls. As I run around the maze, I piece together what happened here. The Takeda clan fell a year ago, but the local lord did nothing to claim their land. Instead, he and his people stayed locked inside the castle. Soldiers ran out of food and patience. Sitting inside the castle walls for months made soldiers question actions of their lord. Someone even boarded up the courtyard exit, so when they finally finally wanted to flee, they were too weak to break out. The Lord, he was either making changes to this place or spending all his time in his chamber with a strange boy. That's what happens when you work for an irresponsible egomaniac, in modern terms, another multimillionaire influencer. Eventually I find the first warden, an evil entity named Ubume. Thanks to aesthetic visual filter, it's hard to see what she's holding at first, but she's not shy about using it in battle. Imagine my shock when I realize it's a dead baby. In Japanese folklore, this yokai, Ubume, appears when a pregnant woman dies just before, during, or shortly after childbirth. This tragic event keeps mother's spirit from leaving the mortal realm unless she gives away her baby to an unlucky passerby, which happened to be this rat. After defeating her, I pick up her burden, a coin painted with a red chrysanthemum, a flower which symbolizes death and mourning. Her burden represents the impermanence and uncertainty of life. Once I'm done with the Tower of Repetition, I go outside to see the light of day. I find a hole in the ground, and when life gives you holes, you stick your body in it, so I jump in. On the other side, there is a tea house, owned by the mad cat lady and her husband. Nekomata is oddly kind, offering me free matcha tea to restore my health. I drink it carefully, in case it's poisoned. Instead, it restores my health. It seems I finally get something pleasant in this place.
You can't keep getting away with it!
Refreshed and a little bit pissed, I head back out and turn left, toward a nearby prison. To my surprise, the place is huge, easily twice the size of the first tower. While I'm having Dark Souls flashbacks, I am basically hunting for the next warden. But here is the trick: I need to summon him by ringing 4 different bells, placed throughout the area. While looking for the bells, I stumble upon another huge creature that's made its lair on the lower level of the prison, Tsuchigumo. It's a giant spider yokai from folklore, described as a beautiful woman who lures men into her cave and then uses her tricks to feed on them. By the way, it's called marriage now. So other guys get to die looking at a beautiful woman, and this is what I get?
Why are we still here?
Tsuchigumo holds a victim in her web, a priest, trapped here by the Demon King. The priest claims the Demon King couldn't defeat him in a fair fight, so he muddled his mind, keeping him lost in the labyrinth. Before he forgot, he warned me about the prison's warden, the jailer. Previously a man whose soul was so twisted by the occupational hazard at work, he turned into a demon. Leave a like if you have a co-worker like that. Later on another floor, I get lucky and find another Buddha idol, which means I can stop Noribotoke from stalking me everywhere I go. I return the idol and can finally feel just freaked out about the place instead of completely doomed. In fact, this whole place was designed to terrify people. The shogunate suspected something shady was going on in this castle. They sent 5 monks to investigate. None returned. The 6th monk left behind a letter for whoever might find it. He wrote that the prison once held over 100 civilians for unknown reasons. Rumors claimed the lord of this fortress laid with a demon, a boy who wandered the halls muttering incantations, oddly fascinated with the castle, dreaming of making it his own. The monk was sure he'd die here, and judging by the Zen Buddhist helmet I found nearby, I'd say he was right. Once all 4 bells have been rung, I face the jailer. He's a massive pale demon carrying a pike and a corpse which he uses as a weapon. And of course, he's such a wuss, he summons skeletons to aid him. Thanks to the Portuguese for developing muskets and bringing them to Japan. They help a lot. Remember what the priest told me about the jailer? It aligns with Shinto beliefs. Every person is born with spiritual purity, but good and evil spirits influence our actions. After death, the soul travels to Yomi, the underworld. The most virtuous might become kami, deities, but vengeful spirits who died unjustly may linger in the world of mortals, causing suffering like inventing surströmming, just so others must endure it, until the evil spirits too pass on to the underworld. After defeating the jailer, I take his burden, a token with a green knife. In Buddhism, the knife represents the cutting of attachments, destruction of negative forces leading to liberation and enlightenment. The green color symbolizes peace, harmony and growth, making it a powerful color for those seeking longevity and growth in life. Yeah, I wish I was living longer in this place. Now I have 3 tokens on me. The first one was with me from the start. It has 3 blue arrows. They represent this Buddhist concept. The first arrow is a painful experience or unavoidable event. The second arrow is our reaction, which deepens the suffering. The third arrow is the added suffering from clinging to that reaction or trying to avoid it. The other 2 tokens I claimed from the wardens. I need 1 more to go. The final warden is hiding in the bathhouse, where I also find and rescue the servant woman I met earlier. She was trapped in a room by an economy, a yokai that leaks filth and waste in filthy homes and public baths. The lady was so frightened she forgot the incantation to teleport to the tea house, and after I free her, she shares her technique and disappears. I later pay her a visit back at the tea house, where she reveals her tragic backstory. Long ago, the Demon King and his followers kidnapped her. He had a taste for the flesh of young women, eating most of them alive. When it was her turn, he peeled a strip of flesh from her back, but her meat tasted different. Disgusted, he made her a servant. Since then, she's been stuck here for what feels like eternity. Cooking, cleaning, and doing other things. Every time she tried to escape, she'd wake up back here again. She begs me to free her and kill the Demon King. That's exactly what I'm about to do. Back in the bathhouse, I face the last warden, Nupeppo, a stinky, blobby yokai that seems to enjoy how nauseating it is. That's what happens when you enjoy surströmming. Don't blame me, that's the law of life. It's clumsy, slow, and disgusting. The only damage it does is visual, because my eyes hurt just looking at it. Its burden is a yellow shrine, a reminder of Buddha's enlightenment. The shrine represents a bridge between the physical and spiritual realms. With all 3 wardens defeated and 4 token keys in hand, I finally reach the Demon King's chamber. Upon entering, I am greeted unexpectedly by Nuribatoke, who's supposed to be dormant. He chases me all the way to the top of a seemingly endless staircase. When I reach the top, I find various curatives on a table. Oh yes, a boss bottle. Among the items I see, there is a piece of paper describing one of the 8 hot narakas, or hells in Buddhism. The scroll describes the first naraka, where those who intentionally kill other beings are sent. The damned constantly fight and kill each other over and over again. When they die, guards revive them and force them to repeat the violence endlessly. But Buddhist hells are not eternal. Once a soul purges enough negative karma, it can be reborn into a new being based on its past deeds. I enter the Demon King's chamber. It's a tiny stage surrounded by darkness. I can't even tell what I'm walking on. I approach a massive tumor-covered brute. He's surprised to see a mortal make it this far. Long ago, many sought him out, now only a few. Then he drops a bombshell. The sword I carry was broken in half, and the other half is embedded in my master. He asks if I intend to cut the Demon King a second time. I barely have time to digest that revelation before the battle begins. The fight is a game of dodging magic missiles and waiting for openings. My hammer is jaw-dropping, so much so that I knock the Demon King's head off his body, but he doesn't go down easily, his head bites back. Then I wake up in a dark cave. I have nothing, not even my trusty torch, which lies beside me. I follow the river just like before. I find familiar objects, shrines, valves, and just before stepping into the light, I see a Buddha statue. Is it a symbol of redemption? On the other side, I hear birds singing. The sun is high, and tall trees greet me warmly. There is no fog, no demons, but only peace. So what the hell was all of that? And more importantly, how did the main character end up in hell? Here is my theory on what actually happened. The plot of the game is a loose interpretation of an ancient Japanese legend, the tale of Shutendoji. During the reign of Emperor Ichijo, young women were disappearing near the capital Kyoto. It was eventually revealed that the Oni king of Mountain O was behind the kidnappings. In response, the emperor ordered 2 loyal samurai, Minamoto no Raiko and Fujiwara no Hosho, to eliminate the demon. Raiko took along 4 lieutenants. Hosho only brought his junior secretary. On their way to the Demon King, they passed through a cave tunnel and came upon a river where they met an old woman doing laundry. She explained that the kidnapped maidens were being forced to serve the Oni until he slaughtered them, ate their flesh, and drank their blood. Long story short, the warriors found the demon lord, tricked him into drinking blessed sake, which is poisonous to demons, and while he was paralyzed, Reiko severed his head. Even after being decapitated, the demon's head was still alive. It snapped its jaws, aiming at Reiko's head. Luckily, Reiko had the foresight to wear 2 of his men's helmets over his his own. The group then returned triumphant to Kyoto with the demon's head. Moral of the story: wear two helmets at all times. Now in the game we get a mix of everything: this legend, Shinto, Buddhism, and the developer's own ideas. Death of the main character's master and the lord of the fortress felt too similar. Two powerful figures, both closely connected to a demon. As I said, according to Shinto, there are no inherently bad people, only evil spirits that tempt us. That's likely what happened to these two lords. Both fell victims to poisonous whispers from the same demon. I believed it played out like this. The first victim was the main character's master. At the beginning we are told he sacrificed himself, but I think the demon had already taken control of him. Once the master realized what was happening, he entrusted one of his most loyal commanders, our protagonist, a senior Ashigaru, with the task of ending his life, a form of penance for weakness. But the evil spirit didn't stop there. It traveled to the nearby fortress, possessed a boy, and drove the local lord insane through incantations, eventually taking over the entire fortress. Otherwise, how can a small boy know different types of magical spells? The mad lord was killing people by the hundreds and doing nothing to claim their enemies' lands. Even his own soldiers started questioning his actions. Obviously, everybody knew something shady was going on around this area. The shogunate even sent priests here, and no one came back. So the Ashigaru knew where to look. He'd heard rumors. He knew where to find the demon. Still, the final note found in the game clearly states that the protagonist is in hell. But how did he end up in there? Well, obviously he committed a sin of intentional killing during his war times, which served as a one-way ticket to hell. But we need to understand what was the cause of death. We have three clues. The first one is in the game folder, the second one is in the tea house, and the third one is in the intro description. If we go to the game folder, we will see that the game's exe file is called Shinigami. So does it mean I've been playing the wrong game all along? Well, I guess not, but it's a huge hint to the next clue. If we go to the tutorial to revise movements, we can find a black corpse hanging outside, which actually describes what Shinigami does. You see, Shinigami is a deity of death. They possess people and make them want to get a ticket to the underworld on your own, often through cosplaying the Bloody Baron. Then, if we try to recall what the intro description said, it states that the foot soldier takes what could possibly be his final breaths on this mortal plane. He willingly committed a suicide to leave the mortal realm and enter the spiritual one, because of the rumors he heard, the same rumors that Shinigami might make up for him. It's basically a win-win for both sides. The Ashigaru has a chance to track down the Demon King, and Shinigami takes another person to the underworld. After all, the Ashigaru made a vow to end the Demon King's life and to do whatever it takes. So it was the way to reach the demon's domain. I believe the Demon King exists in both realms at the same time, the mortal and the spiritual. In the mortal realm, he possesses people, influences their decisions, but his true form, the one that can be destroyed, is in the spiritual realm. So the Ashigaru willingly committed a suicide to leave the mortal realm and enter the spiritual one because of the rumors he heard. Fun fact: remember I told about the musket and the Portuguese who introduced the musket we saw in the game? Well, these types of weapons were first imported in 1543, in the 16th century, 3 centuries after the main character ended up in this place. I believe he was in this hell for about 300 years. Some items of the mortal realm migrated to hell as well. After all, demons need industrial revolution, cars, better healthcare, and the internet too. He's boring as hell. In hell. But why does the Ashigaru have one of the 4 tokens needed to unlock the Demon King's chamber? Given that the maidservant states the wardens hold the keys, and we only fought 3 wardens. Well, here is the twist. The Ashigaru was a warden himself. The tokens are not physical objects, they are burdens the main character must carry. When he was alive, he was a commander, one of Lord Takeda Nobumitsu's most trusted men. And when the Ashigaru finished his lord's life, he felt the weight of his actions. A painful experience or an avoidable event. That's why the Demon King asks, do you hope to cut me down a second time? The first time was on the battlefield when Ashigaru killed his possessed lord. The second was when he struck the Demon King in hell. After slaying the Demon King, we return to the Black River and go through a tunnel of light. But wait, does it mean we are trapped in an endless loop of waking up under the tent at the beginning, doomed to play this game forever? Actually, quite the opposite. The Ashigaru has reached enlightenment, or nirvana. In Buddhism, some souls can purify their negative karma, If some beings can use up their negative karma that brought them to one of the hells in the first place and get reborn, others can reach enlightenment through learning 4 noble truths. The first noble truth is the pervasive presence of suffering in our lives. This truth teaches that life always involves suffering in obvious and subtle forms. Even when things seem good, we still feel an undercurrent of anxiety and uncertainty inside. The second truth is the cause of suffering. The root of suffering is ignorance, misunderstanding our nature and reality. Then goes the end of suffering. The good news is that our obscurations are temporary. They're like passing clouds or fog that obscure the sun of our enlightened nature, which is always present. Therefore, suffering can end, because our obscurations can be purified and the awakened mind is always available. This state is referred to as enlightenment or nirvana. It is a state of freedom, peace and liberation from the cycle of birth, death and rebirth. And the final truth is the path. By practicing mindfulness, ethics and wisdom, we too can reach this state. So, in the final moments as the Ashigaru walks through the light, he is freed. We don't see dense fog anymore. There is no dark tent hanging above him, because symbolically, nothing is blocking his view of the sky anymore. He has left hell. He served his time, saw the truth and was released from rebirth 300 years later. Well, that's all I wanted to say about the story. Still, feel free to add your own ideas. There is so much in this game that could be seen different. Maybe you notice something else that offers deeper insights. And thanks for watching, leave a like, subscribe and see you next time, when I will be hiding under your bed. Bye.